Hello everyone, thank you for watching this video. Okay, in today's part of the video, right, we're gonna do a little bit of revision on chapter 1, 3G2 chapter 1 self-revision questions. So we're gonna namely look at expansion, factorization, adding and subtraction of fractions, and changing subject formula. Okay, without further ado, let's begin. Now today on this part, the worksheet itself is likely a little bit more of those advanced questions that involves a little bit more of traps and higher level skills. Okay, so the very first question for expansion and simplification, we're going to look at expansion of brackets with 3 different brackets itself. So for this kind of question, usually what we do, we will try to deal with them 2 at a time. So I'll deal with the 2 brackets first. So I will have to expand b minus 5 first to 5b plus 7. So doing this expansion over here, I have my first portion, b with 5b plus 7. Then negative 5 with 5b plus 7. Students who can do rainbow method, please continue to go ahead to do your rainbow method. And I'll keep 2b minus 3 unchanged. Next, let me expand this in my bracket over here. We'll get 5b squared plus 7b, and negative 5 times 5 will become negative 25b. Negative 5 times positive 7 is negative 35. But this whole thing is still need to be multiplied to another 2b minus 3 over here. So I'm going to add back my brackets over here and keep 2b minus 3 at the back. Let me simplify whatever that's inside my bracket. So here I will have 5b squared, 7b minus 25, 7 minus 25, that will give me negative 18b. And the other one over here, this one will be negative 35. So simplifying this, I have this one. And now I'm ready to multiply to the other bracket, 2b minus 3. So we notice that there are 3 different terms over here inside our bracket. So what we can do, we can write it as 5b squared multiplied to 2b minus 3. Then we repeat for the next one. The next term is negative 18b. Negative 18b multiplied to 2b minus 3. And last but not least, negative 35 multiplied to, my 5 is missing, 2b minus 3. Okay, so with that, we can do our expansion. I will have a 10b times b squared times b to give me b cubed. Okay, 15b squared minus 18 times 2, 36. b squared negative times negative, negative 18 times negative 3 to give me positive 54. Positive, b. Then last but not least, the one at the back, negative 35 times 2b, so negative 70b. Negative times negative 3, negative 35 times negative 3, that will give me negative 35 times negative 3, that will give me positive 105. Right, with that we can simplify our final answer. 10b squared, ab cubed stays, and this one over here is an addition, so I'm going to simplify negative 15 plus negative 36, that will give me negative 51b squared. Then I have the next pair, 54 with 70, 54 minus 70, that will give me negative 16b. And last but not least, positive 105. So this will be my final answer. Have you gotten the concept? If you are good, let's move on with the next question. The next question involves factorization by grouping a little bit of the questions with the negative sign over here. So let's take a look at the question over here. First part we're going to group them into two terms. Try not to use brackets, but for me, I don't use brackets, I use braces. So the very first pair, I have 3xy minus 6xt. I'm going to divide them by a common factor 3 and x. So I'm left with y minus 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So I have 2t remaining. I'll write it as 3x bracket y minus 2t. Okay. Next part, I have the next set. Remember, I try not to write brackets because the sign might change. So in this case, it's negative 9y plus 18t. I'm going to divide these. Bear in mind, I have my number. This portion at the back is y minus 2t. I must make sure y minus 2t will appear. Okay, so if I'm going to get y minus 2t, what am I going to factorize out? That number is going to be negative 9. Okay, so in this case, if I have that's the case, negative 9y divided by 9 will give me positive y. 18, positive 18 divided by negative 9 will give me negative 2t. So this number will go with the sign negative 9. Even if you factorize out with a positive number, you must make sure you write a plus 9 or something like that, okay? So now we can do our next step. The factor that's repeated, we'll write it one time, 1 minus 2t. The other one will be 3x minus 9. But always, is this going to be your final answer? Check for common factor. Okay, I send you my favorite letter F. F for factorize. So the common factor, both of them have a common factor 3. So I'm going to factorize out the number 3 from here. And I'm left with 3x divided by 3 to give you x. 9 divided by 3 to give you 3. And then I should write my remaining y minus 2t down as well. So y minus 2t. Have you gotten the concept? Okay, with that, I shall move on to the next question. Next part, this question is on changing subject formula. Now, this question, I tried to put all the different skills that can be tested all inside one question. So there will be many different skills that you all need to go through. Okay, do stay along with me. First part, now we're going to try to get rid of our square root symbol over here. So to undo a square root, we need to do a square. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to square the opposite side. Square the whole of 3w. Okay, not square the w only. Square the whole thing, the whole of 3w. And with that, your square root will be gone. Okay, so this one will be one given. Next thing, we have to know this square actually applies to both the 3 and the w. So 3 square will become the number 9. W square. Okay, and then we have 5 minus p square over r plus p square. Next thing, okay, so first part I square both sides to get rid of the square root. Next thing, after I square already, remember to square the number 3, yeah? So after I square already, I'm going to get rid of my denominator. I cross, multiply. Remember, denominator go up and across. Okay, denominator goes up and across. So in this case, this is 9w square with r plus p square. And the other side is 5 minus p square. Now, remember our objective for our question, we want a letter p. So if we want p, there's a p square over here and there's a p square over here. So what we're going to do, we're going to expand it out to save the p square from the bracket itself so that it's easier to manipulate. So in this case, 9w square multiplied to r plus 9w square multiplied to p square. And this is equals to 5 minus p square. So that's what we get for now. Okay, let me just write it nicely. And next, we are going to do our next step. We're going to have our p square terms. Okay, all the terms with the p square, we are going to group them together. Okay, we'll group them all together. So I'm going to keep my 9 w square p square over here. And I'm going to bring my minus p square back to this side. So it'll be plus p square. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. I'm going to put all the rest on the other side. So this one here is 5 remaining. But this will be 9w square r. It'll come over to this side. Okay, and I'll do the addition. It becomes subtraction. So minus 9w square r. Okay, next step, we're going to factorize out. I don't have much space, so I'm going to write it on the next line. On the other side, I'm going to factorize out my common factor, letter p. But remember, this letter p here, this is 1 unit of p. This is 1 unit of p. So when I factorize out the p, so p square itself rather, okay, I'm left with a 9w square plus this thing over here is not empty, it's the number 1 whole unit. Remember, if you have two terms here, there will also be 2 terms inside your bracket. So this one will be 9w square plus 1. Okay, maybe some of you might have gotten the 1 correctly. Okay, next step, after that we are going to try to get p square on our own. So we're going to do division. We're going to divide this whole thing away, and it goes down below. Okay, go down. Okay, so I'm going to divide it away. We will have 5 minus 9w square r over 9w square plus 1. Last but not least, I'm going to get rid of my square over here. So we're going to take square root, and we need a plus or minus square root for both sides. So after I do my square root, I'm left with just the letter p, but I must remember to put this whole thing inside the 0 or the root sign with a log and a key, because there are 2 possible answers when we take square root, a positive or a negative answer. Okay, now finally, when you write the answer blank, please do not only write this portion. This is not the whole formula. Formula must have a left hand side and a right hand side. So you observe the blank. If the blank has no p equals to, then you better make sure you fill in your p equals to the left hand side inside here. The whole thing will be the correct answer. Have you gotten the concept? If you are okay, then we shall move on with the next part of this question. So the next part of the questions now goes on to hence. Right, so going to use your previous answer. So let me write down my previous answer. Find the value of x. Oh no, it should not be find x. Find the value of p, right? Okay, when w equals to 5 and r equals to negative 2. So find the value of p instead. So p equals to plus or minus square root. Okay, 5, the number of, 5 minus 9w square with r is negative 2, 9w square plus 1. So we're going to fill in the numbers given to us. W is 5, so 5 square. R is negative 2. Remember, put brackets for your negative number. Okay, and you square it, the answer will be a different number. So let me just key the whole thing into my calculator. Remember, the square is for 5, and then there's a negative 2. Then this one is 9 bracket 5 square plus 1. The first answer, I got a 1.41889. ... The question says write your answer in 3 significant figures. So it's positive or negative. And I'll round it off to positive or negative 1.4. 1 to the third number, third sig round up, 1.42. So p equals to plus or minus 1.42. Have you gotten the concept? Okay, next part of our question. Now we're going to have our last two questions on addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions. So taking a look at our questions over here, the first thing that we need to take note of is always to observe our denominator. Is there anything that I can factorize? So I can see very clearly that this is 3x minus 6. There's a common factor denominator in the denominator over here. And the next thing, this is square. Square, this one over here means repeated. So means you repeat the thing exactly the same 2 times. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simplify this and write it down in a nicer manner. So this will be x, and I'll write it as x plus 2 and x plus 2 again, 2 times. Same sign over here, right? Then subtract 5 over, okay, then what's the common factor over here? 3 and 6. So 3 and 6 is divisible by the number 3. So I'm left with x plus 2. So I'll have another x plus 2 over here. So if this is the case, I notice that there are 2 factors here, x plus 2 and one more x plus 2. But currently on the other side, I only have an x plus 2. So hence, I need to add one more x plus 2 to it. Okay, and with that, we shall write this as one single fraction. Okay, so this one will be x plus 2 2 times, and keeping it x. But bear in mind, let's do our expansion carefully, okay? Negative 5 times x. So that will give me negative 5x. Then the next one, negative 5 times a 2. Negative 5 times a 2. So negative 5 times 2 gives me negative 10. Okay, simplifying this, we will get our answer x minus 5 to be negative 4x minus 10, and this is x plus 2, x plus 2. Okay, now how many of you will think that this is the final answer? Is there something we need to check? Right, okay, although it's not very crucial in this case because there's no more other common factor that we can divide later on, but now we do notice that there is actually another common factor in my numerator. So in the simplest reduced form for your simplest form for your algebraic fraction, you need to factorize out the common factor fully. So in this case, I'll factorize out the number 2 and keep it as negative 2x minus 5 over x plus 2. You can write it as x plus 2 whole thing square, or you can write it as x plus 2, x plus 2. Okay, or some of you might factorize out the negative factor 2, but remember, you need to change your sign if that's the case. Then, so either you do it correctly, if not, then please don't do the negative sign too much. Alright, x plus 2. So sometimes you have to take note, in some cases, the numerator after factorization may have further common factors for you to be cancelled out. So in this case, we just double check there's no other common factor. So this one will be my final answer. Have you gotten the concept? If you're good, then let's move on to the last question, question number 4. Question number 4 over here will involve a little bit of questions changing sign and using special product. Okay, let's observe. First things first. I observe that there's a x square expression, quadratic expression in my denominator. So the first things over here is, this is actually 4x squared minus 49. I'll use the special product a squared minus b squared. Why is that so? Square root of 4x squared is actually 2x. Square root of the number 49 is actually 7. So both the numbers are square numbers, a perfect square. Okay, so what we can do, we're going to change our denominator first. So I will have 4. I'm going to keep this as 7 minus 2x, not changing anything. And I'm going to factorize this into x plus b, a plus b, a minus b. So we found 2x, so it's 2x times 2x to give you 4x. And 7 times 7 to give you 49, but we do not want any x terms, so in this case will be 1 plus 1 minus. Okay, let me just change this to red color, to black color. Okay, next thing, now observe our denominator over here. This is 7 minus 2x. This is 2x minus 7. So this one, the two of them have something same but different. The sign over here is negative, but this one is positive. This sign over here is positive, but this one is negative. So what can I actually do? For me, I'll make it easier. I'll do the negative sign with the one that has one single denominator. So I'm going to multiply this one over here from addition. I'm going to multiply it to a subtraction, a negative number to it, negative 4. I'm going to keep my negative sign with my numerator. And then I'm going to flip my denominator. 7, positive 7 become minus 7, negative 7. And 2, negative 2x become plus 2x. Okay, you can write it also as minus 7 plus 2x, doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Next, we observe we have the factors 2x minus 7, but this side has one additional factor, 2x plus 7. So I need to multiply one more factor to this portion. So I have to multiply the factor 2x plus 7. Have you gotten the concept? Next, we are going to do our expansion. Please be very careful with the sign, especially the negative numbers. Alright, so in this case, our negative 4 times 2x, negative 4 times 2x, negative 4 times 2x, multiply, so it's negative 8x. Then again, negative 4 times 7. So negative 4 multiplied to 7, that's negative 28. Then there's a plus 1 at the back over here. And let's simplify this. I'll get my answer, negative 8x minus 27. Okay, and we always double check, is there anything we can factorize? There's no common factor here, so in this case, this one is my answer. Have you gotten your answer? Now with that, I come to end of today's self revision. I'll see you for our next lesson. Thank you and goodbye.